Welcome everyone. Today we are going to see the irrigation engineering subject code 1615505. Our concept is dams and spillways, and the lecture number is 3 on gravity dams. Okay, uh, let's move on. Okay, in this slide I am going to explain you about the combination of forces for design in a gravity dam. Fine. The design of the gravity dam shall be checked for two different cases. Okay. One is when the reservoir is at full level. That is when the reservoir is at full level at the upstream portion of the gravity dam, and when the reservoir is empty at the upstream portion of the gravity dam. Okay. Since the reservoir is going to be at the upstream portion only, so you may not consider the downstream portion for a while. Okay, fine. Okay, on the lecture 2, I have explained you about the forces which are acting on the gravity dam. Fine. Now the case 1, that is the reservoir at full condition. Okay, at this condition the major forces, like I have explained in the lecture 2, the dam has the dam is experiencing these types of forces while it's at the reservoir full condition. Okay, these are the forces like weight of the dam, uplift pressure, earthquake forces in seismic zone, external water pressure, similarly minor forces such as ice pressure, wave pressure and silt pressure. Okay, finally these all forces should be taken as a resultant force and should be mentioned during the design criteria. Okay, this is the case 1 for our reservoir full condition. Okay, this is the case 2, which is the reservoir is at empty condition. At this condition, actually, the forces like earthquake forces generally are computed and analyzed as a bending diagram. That bending moment diagram due to this force is being analyzed, and also the design of reinforcement, which you are going to provide while designing your dam is being calculated, and the grouting, that is to increase the soil properties. Grouting means to increase the soil properties where you are going to put the foundation for the dam. Okay, it is also to be analyzed, and also grouting is also known as the procedure to stop the permeability of water while you are going to pave the foundation for your upcoming dam design. Okay, and this earthquake force is generally checked to find the non-development of tension at the toe portion. Okay, this is an important point. This earthquake force, that is the earthquake force which is yet to be generated during natural calamities or due to natural disasters, is going to develop an tension that at the toe portion. Okay, you have to find that development of tension due to this earthquake force. Okay, this is at the reservoir is where this calculated when the reservoir is at its empty condition. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide, we are going to analyze the modes of failure and criteria for structural stability of gravity dams. Okay, first you are going to analyze what are the conditions which are causing the failure of the dam. Okay, these are the four modes which cause the dam to its failure portion. Okay, actually by overturning and by crushing, by development of tension causing ultimate failure by crushing, by sliding caused by shear failure. Okay, in the upcoming slides, I am going to explain you what are these each conditions in their further slides. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide, I am going to explain you about the overturning failure. That is the first and foremost failures which causes a dam to overturn. Okay, actually, a gravity dam may fail due to overturning in case when where the horizontal force acting on the dam is greater than the vertical force, which means that you consider a dam. Okay, like this gravity dam. Here the vertical force which is acting here is weight of dam. Okay, and the horizontal force is generally the force which is acting due to the water pressure, wave pressure, wave uplift, and like earthquake forces and every pressures I have explained you at the previous PPT. Okay, these when these pressures exceed, normally these pressures exceed the horizontal force, that the vertical force, I mean the vertical force, then this causes the losing of the dam stability, and it causes overturning and finally failure of the dam. Okay. The second point here explains the resultant force. I have explained you the same point in the previous slide also. Like the resultant force, that is the main force which is acting due to this, is acting at a height of h by 3. Okay, that is in the previous slide also. I have previous PPT also I have explained you about this. Okay, this overturning thus may be caused at the downstream edge of the dam. Actually, if you see here, this toe portion where the failure occurs. Okay, this overturning occurs here. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide, I am going to explain you about the crushing or overstressing of a gravity dam. You may think that crushing means actually you are going to crush a gravity dam by like an excessive force and it is going to crush into pieces. Not like that. Actually, the crushing means here the overstressing. Actually, if like consider a gravity dam here, okay, and it is being exerted by so much of external forces like water pressure, wave pressure, earthquake forces, silt pressure, ice pressure, like this. Okay, suppose if your gravity dam here is exerted by the excessive pressure of any one of these pressures, like water pressure, suppose it exceeds the normal, like it should be like 60 kilonewton per meter squared. For example, I am saying it should be like 60 kilonewton per meter squared, and it exceeds to like 100 kilonewton per meter squared. Additionally, these pressures are also acting. You know this. The wave pressure is acting, earthquake forces is acting, silt pressure is acting, ice pressure is acting. This pressures plus this 100 kilonewton per meter squared caused due to water pressure is being exerted on the gravity dam. Finally, it causes the overstressing of the gravity dam. Okay, it causes overstressing on the gravity dam, and finally failure of the concrete and masonry on the gravity dam, or masonry of the gravity dam. Thus, it causes crushing. Okay, this is what this point explains. Okay, fine. Suppose wait. Suppose this is a gravity dam. Okay, this gravity dam is being exerted with various types of stresses like wave pressure, water pressure, uplift, earthquake, and etc. Okay, and instead of these pressures, yes, immediately another pressure like a silt pressure, is supposed to be in a limit, like supposed to be in a limit, like it should be like in 250 kilonewton per meter squared means, and it exceeds to, if it exceeds to like 1200 or 1500 kilonewton per meter squared, this additional pressure with these pressures like these water pressure, uplift pressure, and earthquake forces causes the failure of the dam. Okay, could you understand this? Like I'm going to repeat you again. Like the upstream phase of the gravity dam generally is being tensioned with excess of. Okay, in the modes of failure, the fourth and final most failure is this case force, which is called a sliding failure. This sliding failure occurs when the total horizontal forces which are acting on the dam, that is horizontal forces, which are the forces which is from the horizontal action, like the water pressure, wave pressure, ice pressure. These are the reasons for the horizontal forces which tend to slide the entire dam. Actually, these pressures, when they exceed the normal limit, which tend to slide the entire dam and its base along any horizontal section of the dam. That is if there is any horizontal section in the dam, it gets affected by this sliding failure when the total horizontal forces acting on the dam is going to exceed the normal permissible level. Okay. The second point, the sliding also takes place when the horizontal force acting on the dam is greater than the combined resistance. If suppose the weight of the dam is like you assume it's 1 ton, just for an example, it's 1 ton, and suppose the water pressure which is acting behind the dam, that is the horizontal force, is supposed to tend to more than like 2 tons or 3 tons, then the dam cannot withstand that amount of pressure from the water. So it automatically first it tends to resist it, but it cannot resist because the combined resistance by it by the self weight, it does not match the water pressure, or it does not resist the water pressure, and finally sliding of the dam occurs and dam fails. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide, I am going to explain you about the stability analysis of a gravity dam. Actually, there are several modes of failure that I have explained you about in the previous slides. And this upcoming slide, I am going to explain you about the stability analysis, how stable you can design a dam against those modes of failure that I have explained in the previous slides. Okay, because this is an important lecture, please get to understand it. Okay. The first point here states that the stability of a dam can be analyzed by 2D dimensional gravity method. Actually, you are going to draw a dam in a 2D portion and you are going to analyze it. So only it's mentioned that 2-dimensional gravity method. Okay. First, the assumptions are very important. You have to note that. Okay. The gravity method of 2-dimensional stability analysis have the following assumptions, such as first one is the dam is considered to be a composed of number of cantilevers which are taken as 1 meter thick, and these cantilevers act independent of each other, which means that you consider a dam like this. Your dam is like to be considered like this, and like this cantilevers, like 1, 2, 3, 3 to 4 cantilevers in a horizontal section you should consider. Okay, these cantilevers are like 1 meter thick. Okay, and these cantilevers does not combine with each other, they are an individual part. Okay, just imagine they are individual part, they are not a same part. Okay, the loads are not transferred to the abutments and it does not act as a beam. Okay, if you consider this is a dam in like a front view, and these are the abutments. Okay, these are like soil abutments. uh, this soil abutments will never act as a beam. Okay, if suppose a load from upstream, like a vertical load, it's suppose acting on this soil berm or like a soil abutment, means it does not support the load. Okay, and it does not act as a beam. Okay, then the foundation of the dam behave as a single unit. You know that the foundation of the dam is entirely different between the body of the dam, but in this case you just imagine the foundation and the body of the dam behave as a single unit according to this assumption. Okay, this is just an assumption. Okay, fourth, the materials in the foundation and body of the dam are isotropic and homogeneous, which means that these isotropic means that one material is not dependent on another. Okay, isotropic and homogeneous, they are not dependent with each other, they are entirely different. Like steel inside the concrete is different from the concrete. Okay, which is the cement which is pasted on the steel which is inside the concrete structure. Okay, these two are like different, isotropic. Okay, the stresses developed in the foundation and body of the dam are within the elastic limits. Okay, the elastic limits means you have seen this point in like design of steel structures. Okay, elastic limit means if a body is supposed to be acted with a force like this is a body, and it has certain amount of elastic limit. Like you take a rubber which is you going to use for rubbing the pencil markings. That rubber, you are going to tend to produce a force on the top portion, that is the center portion of the rubber. Like that rubber could withstand a certain amount of limit. Okay, it can stress up to certain amount of limit, like it will stress like this. Okay, stress and change its position like this, and you are going to give an extraordinary force like this, means more force than the regular force. It's going to break. Okay, but in this case you are going to assume that the stress which is developed on that foundation and body of the dam are within the elastic limits. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide I am going to explain you about the analytical method which is used for the analysis of a dam against their modes of failure. Okay, you consider a dam like this, a gravity dam, and you consider it to be like a unit length, like 1 meter. You consider it's a 1 meter length of dam, just assume, and the magnitude and direction of all vertical forces which is acting on the dam should be calculated, and their algebraic sum of these forces are the vertical forces summation v. Okay, generally the magnitude is this portion. Okay, like it's the cg portion. You know about cg, which is the center of gravity, Cg. Okay, this is center of gravity, and from this point where the forces are generating are supposed to, okay, are supposed to be calculated, and their algebraic sum, that means all the sum of the vertical forces, what and all vertical forces which are acting on the dam should be calculated, and their sum of these forces are taken as summation v. Okay, understand it clearly, it's summation v. I have explained you in the like previous PPT about what are the vertical forces which are acting on the dam. You may know earthquake force, which is the major force which induces this vertical acceleration, that I have explained you clearly in the PPT in the previous sessions. Okay, though that is an important force, just remember that too, because you may think about many vertical forces, but this is an easiest force, that is the earthquake forces. And just imagine that suppose this earthquake force with other vertical force is acting on the dam, you are going to just sum. Okay, you are going to just find them and sum them, and that is called as summation v. Okay, the horizontal forces and their algebraic sum should be taken as summation h. Okay, you know about the horizontal forces like water pressure, wave pressure, water wave, uplift, ice, etc. Okay, determine the lever arm of all the forces about the toe. You know about what is the lever arm. Lever arm is the distance up to which these forces are acting. Okay, this is called as the lever arm. Okay, then the determine the moments of all these forces about the toe, and find out the algebraic sum of these moments in summation m. Okay, like first you are going to find the summation of moment for the vertical forces. Okay, you know how to find moment, that is force into distance is called as moment. Kindly understand, I have explained this too in the previous slides. Force into distance is called as moment. Okay, vertical, suppose there is a vertical force acting like this, it is going to hit a distance of like suppose you consider this is half. Okay, this force is supposed to consider 2, this 2 into half, that is 1. And it acts up to a length of like half. Okay, half is the length. Okay, and this acts into in a distance of 2 into half, that is 1. Okay, which is the moment for this vertical force. Okay, that similar to that, the word summation of moment for horizontal forces are also to be found, and the summation of all these forces should be calculated, and you have to make the algebraic sum, and this is called as the summation of moments. Okay, then this is the fourth that is the like seventh point, the find out the location of the resultant force by determining its distance from toe. Okay, from the toe portion you are going to find the actual location of this resultant force. Okay, so to find that, the summation of moment divided by summation of vertical forces should be done. Okay, you know how to calculate summation of v and summation of m. Okay, fine. The final most point is find out the eccentricity, that is summation of the resultant are using E is equal to B by 2x. Okay, this is an important equation which is finding the eccentricity where the forces are going to act. Okay, kindly note this equation too. Okay, fine. Okay, now in the previous slide I have explained you about what is the analytical method and how it's to be done. Okay, now we are going to see what is the analytical method analytically. Okay, now you see this is PV. PV is the pressure from the vertical forces. Okay, these are the vertical stresses or vertical pressure, development of pressure, which is the comes under formula summation V by B into 1 plus or minus 6E by B. You know, E is the eccentricity, B is the like breadth, and the summation V is the vertical forces. Okay, then determine the maximum normal stresses or principal stresses which are acting at the toe and heel. Okay, if you consider this gravity dam, here the vertical force which is acting is going to, how it's going to act in the toe portion, like this portion, and in the heel portion, in this portion. This is heel and this is toe. Okay, and you are going to find how this stresses are going to act at this positions. Okay, so sigma at toe is PV into secant squared alpha minus P dash minus PE dash into tan squared alpha. Okay, this is an important formula, kindly know this. Just you are going to change the symbol. Okay, it's going to say, if it is heel portion you are going to change the symbol only, kindly remember this, don't confuse between these two formulas. This is alpha and this is like phi. Okay, the stress, shear stress which is generated in the dam is supposed to be calculated by Z is equal to PV minus P dash into tan alpha. Okay, alpha values will be given for you, and the P values, that is the pressure values, will also be given for you, and you are going to find what is the sigma at toe, sigma at heel, and their shear stresses. Okay, the crushing strength of the concrete varies from 1500 to 3000 kilonewton per meter squared according to grade M15 and M30. You know what is M15 and M30? You may have studied in their concrete materials or construction materials subject. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide I am going to explain you about the factor of safety which is being dealt when the analytical method is taken. Okay, actually if you are going to consider the factor of safety for a dam, okay, you are going to consider some important assumptions for designing this factor of safety. Okay, first this is the stabilizing moment. Actually this stabilizing moment is generally created by the what, the vertical forces and the horizontal forces. Like the most important of this stabilizing moment which is created due to the force called as weight of the dam, because weight of the dam is the most important stabilizing force, and it is the primary force which stabilizes the dam against these external forces. Okay, not only weight of the dam and other forces too come in hand for finding this stabilizing moment. Okay, then divided by disturbing moment. This disturbing moment is created by these external forces like water pressure, wave pressure, uplift pressure, and the vertical forces like earthquake forces. Okay, this is the disturbing moment. Okay, now positive sign is like used for anti-clockwise moment. Okay, kindly know this, and the negative sign is used for clockwise moment. Okay, then determine the factor of safety using the sliding. Okay, sliding factor is uh, mu into summation V divided by summation H. Actually if you are finding for the factor of safety against sliding, okay, like case for sliding you are going to analyze the factor of safety, means this is the sliding factor, you have to analyze this. Okay, mu into summation V divided by summation H. Okay, then the shear friction factor SFF, that is equal to mu into summation V plus dq divided by summation H. Okay, the sliding factor must be greater than unity. Okay, and SFF must be greater than 325. Okay, you know what is unity. Okay, the analysis should be carried out for reservoir full case as well as for reservoir empty case. I have explained you this reservoir full and empty case in the previous slide, kindly go through it. Okay, fine. Okay, Similar to the analytical method, you are going to analyze with the graphical method too. Okay, first the graphical method is the is like you are going to represent in a graphic format, like bar, like this type of bar graphs, or like you are going to represent by the pie chart graph or anything like that. Okay, this is called as the graphical method. And in this method, the entire dam section is divided into number of horizontal sections. Okay, horizontal section means if you are considering a dam like this. Okay, this is like a gravity dam, and you are going to consider like horizontal sections in the dam like this. Okay, and at suitable intervals, you have to keep like 1 meter or 2 meter intervals between the each of the horizontal sections. And where the slope of the dam changes. Actually, if you see this dam, like it is having a sliding portion here. Okay, its slope changes actually. From here it changes to like it changes like 45-degree like inclined. Okay, uh, the same thing for if you are analyzing for analyzing any type of dam, this graphical method is being adopted. Okay, the second point is the sum of the vertical forces and the sum of all horizontal forces acting above the particular section are worked out, and the resultant is drawn graphically like this. The result is drawn like this. Okay, kindly understand this. And you are going to find like this and or like this also, like you are going to plot the values like this, and you are going to draw a curve linear like arc on the graph sheet. Okay, this type of method is called as graphical method. Okay, this is done for like the forces, the vertical forces and horizontal forces which are acting on every horizontal section, like the section you are considered like this, no, in the diagram I have drawn here, no, this each and every section, the each and every section which are being affected by the horizontal and vertical forces should be calculated individually, and they should be plotted in the graph which is being mentioned here. Okay, this line which represents the resultant force should lie within the middle third for no tension to develop. Okay, you can this point explains here is that the line we have drawing here, you know, this line should be within the h by 3, the middle third, only within the middle third h by 3 portion, so that there is no tension to be developed. If the tension is being developed means the line will fall. If you can see it clearly, if the line falls, then you can identify that your dam is going to go through some tension and it is going to fail immediately. Okay, then the procedure shall be carried out for both the empty and reservoir conditions, which is approximately in all the methods like analytical method also. Okay, the resultant in both cases must show non-development of tension in the body, the dam body. That only I have explained you. If suppose the line here you are drawing in the graph is tend to fall like this, you are going to your curve is going to fall like this, then your dam is going to get like failure, or it is going to develop more tension in its body. Okay, fine. Okay, this is the 2D view of that graphical method. Okay, you can see like I have explained in the previous slide. I have I have drawn the dam, and they have put some intervals. You can see it clearly, like black lines between like this one. I have marking, no. These type of lines are the separation of this horizontal section. Okay, your dam has changed its slope, where it is even up to this, and suddenly the slope changes here, and the suddenly changes here. Okay, this portions are tend to have different vertical forces. This top portion is like vertical, full vertical. It has a vertical force like summation v and summation h, which is you consider like 1 kilonewton. Suppose this is a different portion. Okay, this portion it's supposed to have like 2 kilonewton. I'm just explaining only for explanation, don't consider it as real. Okay, and this portion like it's supposed to have 3 kilonewton, and suppose this portion it is going to have like 5 kilonewton. Actually these are the vertical and horizontal forces which are generated actually in the dam. Like your dam section is like this one, like irregular, or like I don't want to say it as irregular, it is going to change throughout its entire length. Okay, Kindly consider this is the like the b by 3 is the different hit the heights of this horizontal section, that is the breadths of these horizontal sections. Okay, fine. Okay, we have seen the graphical and analytical methods. Now we are going to study about our elementary and theoretical profile of the gravity dam. Actually, if you consider a gravity dam like this, okay, and suppose the water which is acting along the dam is like acting in this way, okay, water, this is like water pressure, suppose considering only one pressure, water pressure. Actually what you can see here is this is the face of the dam, okay, and in this face the water is acting like this way, okay. What is this like, if it is a body is standing here and it is the force is acting like this, means it is being acting by a perpendicular force, okay. The same way the face of the dam is experiencing this water pressure in a perpendicular manner, okay. The stored water, okay. The pressure is zero at the top generally. If you see, the pressure is zero at the top portion and maximum at the bottom portion, okay. Actually the top here, the top portion does not have much intensity, okay. Actually the pressure of the water will be high when you are going to go deeper into the water. You, if you are if you swim and you go inside the water, you can feel the opposing pressure of the water. You can generally feel in the top portion you can freely swim, okay. When you are going deeper and deeper inside the water, your body will automatically being resisted by the pressure which is developed by the water. This is like the opposing pressure. It means that the water is like a vertical body. Imagine water is like a vertical body, don't imagine it's real. It's like a vertical body and you are jumping into the water, okay, and your body is like going perpendicular and hitting the water, okay. And your body is going to hit the at the top surface, you don't recognize any type of damage. If you go inside like directly into the water, there will be a pressure which will push you from the bottom to the top, okay. So you start to float, okay. The same way the pressure is zero at the top, okay. The water like the pressure at the top is zero and maximum at the bottom, okay. Understand this example. And then the third one is the thickness which is required at the top is zero, okay, and the maximum thickness which is required at the bottom is like maximum, okay. The right angle triangle will be formed with apex at the top, okay. What is apex means? This is consider this another dam I want to draw and explain you. This is the apex point, okay, the topmost point, and this is the like the triangular portion which you are going to draw for analysis. This is what they have explained. The right angle triangle, okay, will be found with the apex at the top, one face vertical and say, some base width, some base width is there, you can see clearly there is a base width, and let h will be the height of the water being stored, okay. This is the height, okay, our height up to water which is stored. And then b is the base width of the dam, like this base is entirely different, and this base, this is the whole base which is b, okay. A right angled triangle with height h and base b is formed, okay. That only I have drawn here. For stability, the resultant force should remain within the middle third, okay. What is middle third means? This is the middle third. I have explained you the similar point in the water pressure, okay. If you study the water pressure slide, you can understand what is h by 3, okay. That is what they have been mentioned here, middle third, okay, fine. Okay, I have explained you the same thing in this slide also, like the elementary and the theoretical profile of the gravity dam. You can see the live diagram of this, how the pressure is going to act and how the resultant force R is generated in the CG portion, and how the pressure P is going to act, and W which is going to act to a distance of B by 3 in the opposite direction and the anti-clockwise direction and the clockwise direction too, okay, fine. Okay, in this slide I'm going to explain you about the conditions which we are going to check actually the elementary profile of a gravity dam, okay. Actually, there are two types of conditions. You already know, I have explained you about what is the empty and the full condition. Okay, for your kind information, this empty and full condition will be like the main design characteristic when you are going to design a gravity dam. Okay, if you are going to be a PWD engineer in your government, then you are going to design each and everything according to this. Okay, you kindly study this because it is going to be useful for your future. Okay, let's get into the concept. When the dam is at the empty condition, okay, first one is the external force P. I'm going to go to the next slide for you to get the understanding of this. Okay, here you can see the dam, which is supposed to be acted by a vertical force, which is due to weight of the dam, which is W, and the horizontal force, which is P, the pressure which is being generated, and R is the resultant. And this pressure P is going to act anti-clockwise, and clockwise clockwise, and it is going to act to this entire length to reach this distance of B, and it is going to generate a moment P into B. Okay, this is an important thing. And your weight W is going to act like this, and it is going to act like B by 3, which is the normal, the middle third, to which the pressure is going to, the weight which is of the resultant, weight which is due to the resultant is going to act. Okay, this is for both empty and full conditions. Okay, fine. Okay, in this slide I'm going to explain you about the check for elementary profile or theoretical profile of the gravity dam. Okay, in the previous slide there will be a diagram like this. Like your weight is going to act in the vertical direction, and your pressure is going to act in the horizontal direction, and your resultant force is going to act in an inclined manner, and your entire length of the dam is like B, and the water storage portion is in the upstream side, and your height is going to be H, and the pressure which is going to act in the middle third of the dam, that is H by 3, and the W which is going to act in the B by 3 portion of the dam, and there are several B by 3s. Since you are going to consider a dam in like different components. Okay, you are going to take moment about D. Okay, suppose you consider this is the D portion. Okay, D is this portion, and your the moment due to D. Okay, you are going to find. You can see what and all forces which are going to act at D. Okay, this is one of the force P, W another force. So this W is going to act at through a distance of B by 3. So W into B by 3. Okay, then that another force which is the P, which is due to the horizontal forces which is generated from the upstream portion of the dam, and which is going to act in a height of H by 3. Okay, P into H by 3, and which is going to strike D. Okay, and they're going to hit the point at this point. Okay, D portion. So P into H by 3 is equal to W into B by 3. Now 3 gets cancelled, and you take this as a first equation. Okay, okay, fine. Like P is nothing but W h squared divided by 2. This means that you know what is the triangle formula for the area of triangle, half into BH. Okay, you can see, suppose you consider this as a like a right angle triangle, and this is the height of the this is the height. Okay, then half into B. What is B? H. Okay, B is our H, and another H will be there. So half H into H, that is H squared, and W, which is the density of the water. Okay, actually this is W is the density of the water, and which is divided by 2, which is coming from the area formula. Okay, fine. Pressure is from area into distance. You know what is area into distance? That is pressure. Then W, you know, W into rho into half into 3 into h, which is all, which is we already know that. And where W is the density of water, rho is the specific gravity of the material dam. Now you are going to substitute these two values, like this value and this value, in this equation. Okay, so W by P is equal to h. You know what is h? If you keep the h here and bring all these components to the down portion, here means, then the equation will change like this. Okay, then you are going to cancel out the common things, and your equation will finally become like this. Okay, W by P is equal to rho B divided by h, or if you are going to bring that B into this portion, then it is going to be like this. Okay, rho B squared is equal to h squared. Okay, okay, this is the resultant force which is acting at the final base with B. Okay, the force is h divided by root of rho. Okay, this is the final resultant force which is going to act up to a depth of, up to a width of B. Okay, fine. Okay, this is the practical profile of a gravity dam. Actually, if your gravity dam is supposed to be considered in terms of practical design, then the elementary profile of the maximum pool level till the apex portion. I explained you what is the apex portion in the dam. This is the topmost portion to the where it connects to the end, or the the bottom of the dam. Okay, but in actual conditions the water level may rise to maximum pool level. Suppose there is a normal pool level, like I have explained you in the previous slides also about what is maximum pool level and normal pool level, and this maximum pool level is reached during heavy winds, wind waves, peak flood, or during rainy seasons. Okay, in design conditions, a freeboard of 2 to 3 meter, that is, this freeboard is considered, how I have explained you already in the previous slides. This is a gravity dam, this is the normal level, here the water is there, this is the normal pool level, and this is the maximum pool level. This distance is known as freeboard, 2 to 3 meter. Okay, should be given, and this freeboard value will be given for transport facilities too. Suppose you are going to construct a bridge across this dam means, then over this dam means, you are going to consider this freeboard, because it is an important design procedure, and you are going to apply this Blaise formula. This is an important formula, kindly make a note of it. That is, area A is equal to point W 552 into root h. Okay, the A is the top width, h is the maximum height of water which is present in the reservoir, that is up to maximum pool level. Okay, fine.